Hispanics are causing panic, baby. Let's do it.
We come out chased by hounds. Round and round we go, wearing a pinche rabbit's foot for luck, just ahead of the fucking hounds. ¿Qué hubo? ¡Ah! ¡Qué vida es! ¡Qué loca vida, home!
Como decimos en México, hay que dejarnos de mamadas. No hay que... Los cinturones aquí se hacen a un lado. Hay que pelear por honor y por gloria nada más.
I invite him into the ring, and like we say in Mexico, we don't fuck around. We don't fight for rings and stuff like that. I don't fear anyone.
En este deporte no se viene a jugar y no le tengo miedo a nadie.
We don't come to play in this sport. I fear no one in this sport.
What's your prediction for the fight, then?
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
Como decimos en México, hay que dejarnos de mamadas.
We come out chased by hounds.
The next victory, I need a pound on the chest like Tito, man.
I got you. Hey, but the thing is that after the win, you have so much thing in your mind that you want to do. Like I've been practicing this for like the past 3 fights. I haven't done it yet. I've been practicing getting in the rope and saying, this is boxing, this is top rank. I haven't done it yet. It's just so many things.
Is mini Puerto Rico, and boy, did he make them happy and give them something to celebrate, Tim. He wasted no time.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks to those joining me live and to those that be joining me on archive. I'm DStyleBoxing. I'm being joined by my co-host, G Funky. Also, we have Raw Boxing. We have Chicano Prophet and 408 joining us for this interview. And we have the one and the only Xander Zayas, Puerto Rico stand-up. All right?
Yes, sir.
It's going to be longer than your last fight for sure. Like, there's no doubt it's going to be a longer interview. If not, it would have already been over. You were talking to us offline about it, and of course, we're going to ask you again to share with the audience. First of all, how are you doing, and how do you feel after that spectacular victory?
Man, Hispanics causing panic. I'm glad to be here. Last time had a blast. This time I know I'm gonna have a blast. I'm great. Got into training camp yesterday, Monday, right? Today's Tuesday, right? Kind of losing the days now. But yeah, I'm awesome. I'm doing good. My family's doing good, and I'm just glad to be here today.
Absolutely. First of all, great setup. I mean, you're going places. We could already tell. You're gonna have gold ceilings and everything in tumor fights, I think, you know?
Yes, sir. You know, doing a little upgrade. Last time was kind of like the background was kind of in my room. Now we got a little studio going on. Got the top rank hat, the WBC hat, the Grant glove, the Puerto Rican flag. Got a couple trophies from the amateurs. Going places, little by little.
Right. That's right. Hey, what happened last fight? I mean, I was told to get a drink of water, and then it was over. Like, talk to us about that performance, brother.
Man, you know, it was a step up. It was a step up 5. The guy was 8 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 5 wins by knockout. Tall, lanky guy. But like I was saying to you guys backstage, we knew that he couldn't handle pressure. We knew if we would have given the opportunity to box, he would have used the ring well because he knows how to use the ring. But you know, the game plan was stay close to him. Don't let him extend the punches and just put the pressure, and that's what we did from the first belt. Again, backstage, I was telling you guys how he kept the chin up and he was throwing a lazy right hand, and just I capitalized on it. You know, I saw it. He hit me with one right hand, and I saw the mistake that he was making. He was bringing it back down, and I just made him pay. I just made him pay in the second one. And it was a hook that we was working throughout camp, and you know, it worked out in my favor.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before we I let someone else go here, I did want to ask you. I played the clip there. You know, I know you were talking about you've been rehearsing that celebration. You finally did it. Did you catch yourself after the fight? Oh, I got to do this, or like did you remember about HCP? Like, what happened in that moment?
Man, I was so hyped because the fans were there after a long year. So and again, it was in Kissimmee with all the Puerto Rican fans. So when I connected the first hook, they went crazy. So once like the referee stopped the fight, the only thing I could think of was like, let's go. Like I did this like in front of the fans, in front of the whole fans, in front of my whole family. So I don't know. I just, it kind of like happened. But I did make sure I said, this is boxing, this is Top Rank. I said it to the cameras. I even got a video of it. But again, it's like I always tell you guys, it's so many emotions going on at the moment. You don't even think what you're saying. Then you're like, oh, I said that.
Hey, well, I'm the one that asked you to give me the pound of the chest like Tito. So, I was looking, man. I was watching close. I was like, he might do it. Let me just look at
No. Hey, and then my dad, after the fight, my dad told me, like, yo, you need pound the chest. And I'm like, man, I forgot.
That was good to see, man. But
man, thank you.
Yeah, I could just tell, man, that the fighters, all of the young Puerto Rican fighters that were on that card were really amped up, really excited to be back in front of fans, and but I want to ask you, there's a little bit of a rebirth, a little bit of a renaissance here happening with Puerto Rico, and there was a lot of young fighters, a lot of talented young fighters on that card. How does it feel to be a part of that? Right, you're like right in the middle, and there's a lot of people that I've been talking to that think you're going to come out to be the best out of all of them. So, how does that feel to be a part of that new renaissance of Puerto Rican boxing?
It means a lot. It means a lot because 2 years ago I was watching them on TV. 2 years ago it was myself wanting to be in that position, and now that I'm there with all those guys. It shows me that the hard work is paying off. It showed me that with the right guidance, with the stepping the right way and doing the right thing, things will pay off. And I'm just blessed. I'm glad to have such a Puerto Rican fan base, such a fan base overall. All those guys that are coming up with me, they're great guys. They're very humble. They work hard, and they just want to bring the same thing I want to bring to my island of Puerto Rico, that is, glory and championships. And we're looking forward to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good young fighters. We've kept our eye on quite a few. But I want to get your thoughts on a guy who's been really becoming, like, how would you like to say here, over with the fans. He's getting real popular, and that's Edgar Berlanga. He went in there, finally got some rounds in, went 8 rounds.
Yes.
Silence the critics. What did you think of his performance that night, man?
I think he gave himself a C. I give himself an A. He showed that he could box. He showed that he has power in round 1 or in round 8. He shows that he could take a punch. I was happy. I was happy with his performance. I went backstage after the fight, and he told me that he was also happy that he got the rounds in. He told me, man, if they would have given me 10 more seconds in that last round, I would have knocked them out. And I'm like, hey, but at least you got the unanimous decision. Now, at least you got 8 rounds now that you could go back and look at. And man, he was just happy. He was just happy. I was happy for him. And we spent camp and fight week together. So, seeing him going rounds meant a lot.
Yeah, I was actually glad to see him go some rounds myself. Go ahead, DStyle.
So first, congratulations, man, on your last fight.
Thank you,
and congratulations on the fact you were able to execute that counter attack on your boy, grabbed him against the rope, and completely neutralized him with the very punches that he might have seen coming, but he just couldn't stop. The question I have for you, though, is now that this fight was over, how soon can we see you back in the ring? How soon are you planning on going back to camp?
Like I said, I started training yesterday. Hopefully June, I'm back in the ring. if they call me tomorrow, tell me be ready by Saturday, I'll be ready by Saturday. But but again, hopefully June, I could be back in the ring. That's what we're looking at right now. I haven't received any call, but we're training for sometime in June.
Definitely. Just like you, I didn't agree with Berlanga giving himself a C because I thought that the guy did extremely well. I thought that he went 8 rounds, but he also gave us some knockdowns. And, 100%. As a boxing fan, not only do I want to see a very good boxing match, but, knockdowns are welcome as well. I myself give him an A. I
give him an A 100%. His opponent was very cautious. He knew what he had in front of him, and he was just surviving. He got to a point that the guy didn't want to throw punches. He was just trying to survive. And Berlanga did the right thing on staying composed, on keep boxing, keep using the distance, keep cutting the distance, cutting the ring, using the right combination, using the right punches. And he did what he had to do to get the victory.
Correct. Now, when you were working and preparing for this camp, how often or how long did it took you and your camp to sort of say, okay, this is what the guy does. This is what we're going to do in able to beat him. Because, sometimes you can watch films and it takes you a couple of times, maybe sometimes you spend a few weeks looking at film after film, dissecting mistakes after mistakes. How long between you and your coach before you guys said, okay, this guy does this, this is what we need to do?
Well, at least for my fights, my coach and my dad kind of sit down and go through it. Then they come to me and they're like, all right, this is what we're going to work on. Okay. For this fight, even though the guy had 10 fights, it was very hard to find videos of him because there weren't too many videos. It was like 2 or 3 videos. But throughout the 3 videos, it was the same mistakes. It's nothing changed. It was nothing different from each fight. Then the guy knew how to keep distance. The guy knew how to box at distance. The guy was long. But every time somebody was getting close to him or putting the pressure, he couldn't, he was either grabbing them or staying in and tight. He couldn't, we knew he couldn't box inside. And that was just the game plan. That was the game plan. We had a really tall guy for our, shout out to him, shout out to Marlon. We had him from down here in Miami. He was 6'3", kind of had the same style, fighting at distance, fighting at bay. And, we had a great training camp.
For sure. Definitely the mid-range worked very good for you, at least 100%. In the little bit that the fight lasted. But that's all I got for now.
All right. Chicano Prophet. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, man. Well, I'd love to hear you talk about the sweet science. I can tell you're definitely like a student of the game, bro. And I know that fight didn't last very long, but you had the game plan going. And I'm just curious, did you have to make any adjustments? I mean, was there anything that he surprised you with that you had to readjust for?
Maybe the first right hand, that first right hand, I didn't expect it. And that's why, after if you go back to the video, you could see that I kind of like feint him. So I could bait him in and then throw my counter. But that first right hand, he hit me because I kind of like went straight in and I didn't use an angle or move the head. But I made that adjustment. All right, I saw that he was throwing a lazy right hand. So I'm like, all right, let me feint, let me use an angle, let me do something so I can bait him in and then throw my counter.
Nice, man. Well, as you know, man, there's a lot of people online. Puerto Ricans are excited about you, Latinos, and just the YTBC in general, man. We really like your skills. And so I'm just curious, you seem to be just enjoying the journey and you understand that you're a prospect and that you're only 18 and you seem to be patient, not too eager to kind of do anything too fast, but you're also ready for the next challenges as they come about. So I'm just curious, like in a perfect scenario, like how soon do you see yourself fighting for a title?
I'll say maybe end of 2022, beginning of 2023. Hopefully we in the right position. Hopefully we're ranked at whatever weight we were at. And Top Rank give us the opportunity to fight for a title. But again, we want to take everything step by step. We want to enjoy the process. And when the time is right, I know Top Rank is going to give me the opportunity and I'm going to take advantage of it.
Very nice. Thanks, Xander.
We have a bunch on the chat here from D Jesus. Can you talk about sparring with big names? What's the best advice they've given you?
Well, it depends. It depends because they all have different styles, and I kind of have to adjust to every style that they have. But I think one of the biggest guy that I've sparred that is fighting now on June 5th is George Cambosos. He's like, he's fighting my other big brother, Teofimo Lopez. And, I sparred him for the last 3 camps. And, he always tell me, keep the foot there on the pedal, keep training hard, stay dedicated and stay focused on what you got to do.
Perfect. Haplotap in the chat saying, who's your favorite Puerto Rican fighter of the past and the Puerto Rican fighter who you borrow from the most stylistically?
Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto is my favorite fighter of all times. Somebody that I still look at. I learn from him every fight. You see something different. And he's just a gentleman inside and outside the ring.
Okay, absolutely. What's up, 408? Go ahead, brother.
Xander, pleasure to see you, man. I was one of the people that was at your very first professional fight in Reno, if you remember me, and then I saw you again in Las Vegas at the second one, and then the pandemic hit us, right? But I've been following your career this whole time, buddy. There was a little bit of time in between those first 2 pro fights that you moved they were broadcasting your fights on Telemundo, and I was scratching my head because your career was going so fast, and I thought, man, what are they doing wrong? But now I'm starting to think, was it a genius strategy move where they were trying to get your audience built up with Latinos, with just a bigger demographic of Latinos, period? 100%. Because the fight in Florida sold extremely well. It was a success for you and Berlanga, right?
Yep.
And that being said, I mean, they probably would love to televise you even more so on Telemundo and whatnot, but is the goal still to hit Madison Square Garden as New York City's opening up? Maybe you and Berlanga headlining a car together.
Well, that would be great. That would be a dream come true. But yeah, going back to the question, when the pandemic hit, we didn't want to take a risk on going into the bubble and maybe testing positive, and then having to stay there for 14 days by ourselves. So we kind of took a step to the side and said, all right, we can still fight here in Telemundo, and we can also grab the attention of all the Latinos or all the Latin America, the Caribbean, and that's what we did. We went kind of like that route, and then at the beginning of 2021, Top Rank called us and said, all right, let's get you in on ESPN Plus and let's get you going again, and that's what's going on right now. But yeah, fighting on MSG will be amazing. I don't know when it will happen. Hopefully it happens maybe in June, maybe sometime in December. It depends on how fast New York opens up. But whenever it happens, I'll be ready, and it will be a pleasure to fight there.
Yeah, so I have watched all your fights so far that you've had, and it surprised me. There's a lot of expectations on fighters like you in a unique position who've not just about knocked everyone out. And I think the one guy that stood out to me, you fought a guy who was maybe a professional MMA fighter, and he refused to go down. But what learning lessons? He refused to go down. But what does that say about some fighters that maybe are in unique positions like you and Berlanga, that there's pressure from the audience, that they think you're going to knock everybody out? But there were some learning lessons there, right?
100%. You always learn. It doesn't matter if it goes to distance or if it ends in the first round. You always learn something new. This last fight, I learned not to get too happy when I see the guy hurt. Kind of choose my punches. Going back to that, I think it was my 3rd fight in Atlantic City. We learned that we have to break a guy down, and maybe at that time, because I was fighting 4 rounds, it wasn't enough time to break him down how we wanted. But we got the job done. Done, and that was the most important part.
Most definitely. And I'm excited to eventually see you back on the West Coast, hopefully in Las Vegas, because social media is going nuts for these Taylor Ramirez tickets. And I know they're going to have tickets for you, man. So hopefully I'll run into you soon.
Man, hopefully, hopefully I can make it. I can make it to Vegas to watch that fight. If not, I'll be watching it here at home. but man, that would be amazing to go out there and see Ramirez and Taylor fight in live.
Absolutely, man. And shout out to Bernie by myself. Thank you, man. Thanks for talking to me today.
Hey, real quick, I want to send a shout out, Sanders. There's the people from the rainforest in Rio Grande, Puerto Rico, watching you right now. So if you want to send them a shout out, go ahead, man.
No, de verdad que muchas gracias a toda mi gente de Puerto Rico, toda mi gente de Rio Grande, toda mi gente de mi isla, de la Isla del Encanto. Súper agradecido con todos ustedes, todo el cariño, todo el amor y significa mucho para mí. Muchas gracias.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, speaking of Puerto Rico, we have a question from H Money Boxing. He's asking, does he know fellow Puerto Rican fighter Armani Almestica? Okay, from Orlando, Florida. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah, I do know him. We actually won on my last recent national. We actually won it. He won it at 141. I won it at 152. So we made Team USA together. Great guy, great boxing skills, and he's coming. He's up next too.
Okay, awesome. Now, one thing I want to ask you, because I mean, like when we're interviewing, you're such a nice guy. I would never guess, like, oh, this guy's a fighter, right? So, can you describe to us like what it's like, especially now that you fought in front of a crowd, right? What is it like when you're walking out? Because I've heard fighters say different things. I've heard fighters say they just blank it all out. They don't hear anybody. It's just them and their opponent. I've heard others say they take it all in. Like, what's Xander Zayas like when you walk out in the crowd?
Man, at the beginning, I kind of blocked it all out and just, it was tunnel vision. But this last time, because I didn't have a crowd in so long, I heard like everything they were screaming, everything they were saying. They were like, motivating me going into the ring. But once I got into the ring, it kind of felt like everything blacked out again. Everything was just tunnel vision, just me and my opponent and the voices of my coaches and my dad in my head, But yeah, it was just amazing. It just different feelings. But I think this time around was a little bit different than, at the beginning when the crowd was there.
Okay. Right, because it's like a switch goes off. You're like a Terminator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so
it's go time. Yeah. It's go time.
It's go time, And then after the fight, it's Xander again.
100%. He's a nice guy.
The nice guy, absolutely. And you know what? I know you said he's one of your favorite fighters ever. And look, I was a big fan of Cotto, but the one thing he didn't have was that personality, right? Like you remind me a lot of Trinidad, who like talks a lot to the people, is very flamboyant, has charisma. That's who you remind me of. You know what I mean? And now, what I wanted to ask you is this: do you have a goal to be up there as the best? And I know it's early to ask you this. I know you're young, but is that your goal, to be the best Puerto Rican fighter that ever lived? That's a hell of a goal, but is that a goal?
I think not just me, but I think every athlete in any sport, you can ask this question and they will give you the same answer. All respects to all the legends in Puerto Rico, but I'm working hard to be the best. I'm working hard to be the best to ever do it. To be a world champion in multiple divisions, to be an undisputed world champion in multiple divisions, to complete all my goals in boxing and in life. So yes, I'm looking forward and I'm working hard to be the best.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you another question, man. Your fight before this last one, you were in there with a guy who was a Philadelphia fighter, tough guy. That fight went the distance, but I feel like it was a good learning experience for you. Did you feel the same way about that fight?
Yeah, 100%. I had the guy on cruise control the whole fight. It was a boxing lesson. We knew that the guy was tough. We knew that he could take a punch. So, we got to a point that we just outboxed him. We just outboxed him, not let him touch me. And that's the sweet sign of boxing, get hit and not get hit. And I think I made that happen on my last fight, not last fight, but the one before that one.
Yeah. I agree, man. I was thinking, like, you know what? it's good to get rounds in. It's good to get that experience, especially when you're this young and you're this new in the game. I thought it was a good fight for you as well. I love how you use those left hooks to the body after the at the end of those combinations you throw, and I think those are beautiful.
And if you see last time, going back to that fight, I was throwing the left hook to the body, but I wasn't coming to the top. This time around, my last fight, I kind of went to the body and the head. So, it's an improvement that, people don't see or people don't look at. But there's some, little things like that are going to get me to that next level.
Yeah, exactly. Now I want to ask you something, man. There's a lot of news breaking this week. We got a big fight with Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. And he's complaining about the ring size now.
I know. I heard.
I want to know your thoughts on that, because me looking back at your fight, I noticed that ring you guys were in that night was pretty small. I don't know what size it was, but it was pretty small.
I think it was 18 by 18. I'm not really sure, but when I go out there, I always go before the fight to warm up and see the ring, see how it feels. When I got in there, I look at my dad and I'm like, Dad, this is like a box. Like, this is small, like there's nowhere to run. So seeing a world champion complaining about the ring or about the size, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because at the end of the day, this is boxing. This is boxing, and obstacles are gonna be there no matter what. You just gotta have the right mentality to say, all right, the ring might not be in my favor, but I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to win the fight. And that's what Canelo say. Man, the ring is not a problem. I'm going in there to fight. And that's why Canelo is the best pound for pound right now. I'm sorry. I just had to throw that in there.
Well, and speaking of that, they asked Canelo and he said, you know what? If it's that big of a problem, fine, whatever. I'm still going to punish him, he said,
100%, because it's what you're supposed to do. It's what you're supposed to do. You shouldn't have a problem with a boxing ring, with anything else. If it's not the glove or the hand wraps, then I'll give you that. Then I'll probably say, all right, you're protecting your own health. But the ring, come on now. The ring is not going to make any difference. If you're going to get hit, you're going to get hit anyways.
Facts. I'm kind of glad that came out of your mouth, because had it been us just saying that, people will probably think we're making all kinds of excuses to protect Canelo or to protect Billy Joe Saunders. And look, at the end of the day, these two guys are professionals, and an extra couple of feet might help or may not. So I'm kind of glad it came out of your mouth.
Man, a couple of feet are not going to help you if you're gonna get knocked out. You're gonna get knocked out anyways. If you're gonna get hit, you're gonna get hit anyways. So 2-3 feet, 2-3 inches are not going to make a big difference. It's a ring. You cut the ring off. I'm already in front of you. I cut the ring to the other side. I'm already in front of you again. So it doesn't really matter how big the ring is.
Well said. Now, we do have a question from D here. It says, being a red-hot prospect, good-looking young cat, he says, how do you deal with all the distractions and the limelight, golf, yoga, etc.? Like, how do you deal with all these distractions?
Well, my dad and my mom, they've been doing a great job with that. I have a great team. They've been keeping me on the line of, staying true to myself, staying serious to what I want to do in my life. And my parents are a big part of that. But other than that, hobbies that I like going to the beach. I like, going to the malls with my boys. I like shopping, playing video games. Just like a regular teenager, a regular guy, will do. Just have a little fun, but be on the mindset that, any stupid mistake could cost everything.
Absolutely. Now, shout out to Christine from In the Ring with Christine. Wants to ask this question here, and it's when you were with Team USA, there was sports psychologists. How important do you think sports psychologists are, at every level of boxing? Did you have a sports psychologist, for example? And, because, what happened with Ryan Garcia, and, do you think that's an important aspect? Oh, yes. I do believe it's an important aspect. Some people
some people might need a sports psychologist because it might get them in the right mindset. Me personally, I've never had a sports psychologist, never had, the problem of having to talk to a sports psychologist. But I believe that if somebody needs it and if somebody, believe that they need the help, might as well go and get it,
You know what you have? He has a Latino mom that grabs him from the ear. Like, ya no vas a hacer eso, and that's it.
Yo,
right?
Yo, I got one of those, 100%.
There you go. Tony Boswa, I appreciate that, brother. He says, much respect to HCP. And also, Chad, I also want to thank this young man for sharing his time. Much respect to Xander Zayas. Absolutely. I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, definitely. Hey, Xander, what's next? Well, what do you know so far? What's next? Because I know you're fighting. It seems like every other month now, so.
I wish I can answer that question. Like I said, I'm already back in the gym. I'm already putting in work. I'm already, getting back to, back in weight. Not that I'm off weight, but just getting back to basic. Getting back to sparring, kind of like sparring fit.
Okay.
But I don't have any date yet. Hopefully June. I'm looking forward to fighting June. That will be my third fight of 2021, and I want to fight at least 6 times this year. I want to step up in competition every time I step into the ring. I want to end up the year fighting 8 rounders, and the most important one, I want to win Prospect of the Year. So for that, I have to stay active. I have to stay focused, and I have to keep beating everybody that they put in front of me.
Got to keep beating everybody that they put in front of you. That's for sure. And do you feel like the opposition getting better as you're, are they improving the opposition for you?
Yeah, 100%.
Just right.
100%. I mean, the first guy of this year of 2021 was 6-1. This last guy was 8-1. So we little by little we're stepping up. People might say, "Oh yeah, but he hasn't fought nobody." But he has a good record. He's been in there. He's he has fought for his record. It doesn't matter who have you fought. You at the end of the day, you're still 8-1. You're still 6-1. So I think we little by little we're stepping up. Yes.
All right. Well, one more question.
Sorry, D-Style. I just wanted to get a question.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to bring up that immediately after your fight, I saw that you were running at the beach. Speaking of the beach, with Oscar Valdez, who just had one of the most sensational, career highlight wins, and I was wondering if he imparted anything on you.
Well, I remember how everything started. I was coming down from the fight Sunday, and he calls me, and he's like, "Hey, do you know any place in Miami that I could run?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I mean, Miami Beach. It just depends on where you want to run. He's like, "Yeah, I want to run like someplace that is like a nice view. You could see things." I'm like, "Well, Miami Beach is a nice route." And I was like, "Oh, how long are you running?" He's like, "Oh, I'll probably do like 7 miles." And I'm like, "So I'm in." He's like, "Do you want to go? Do you want to be in?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I went. He's a great guy. Like again, a big brother. Always tells me, that I'm gonna be the next champion of the world. That I'm gonna, that I'm going places. The only thing I have to do is stay focused. And it's funny because he said we're gonna do 7 miles, and at the end of the day, we ended up doing 8 miles. But it is what it is. He beat me by like this much. In the last phase of the race, he kind of like sprinted and I didn't see it, and then when I looked to the side, he's like already in front of me. I'm like, man, you got me. But it was a nice run.
It's just
important to rematch of that run.
It's the day after your fight.
100% I won that. Yeah, 100% I won that rematch. 100%. Hopefully in June or July we could do a 10K or something. I know he likes running 10K, so hopefully I can make it happen here in Miami, or I'd probably go to Mexico and do it with him.
Yeah.
Xander, I love
Xander,
that.
I know that Oscar Valdez collects crocodiles and alligators. I was wondering if he's maybe next time he might pick himself up a gator in Florida.
Well, myself, crocodiles and alligators are my favorite animal. I love them. I've learned so much about them. he invited me. He invited me to his ranch. We making the arrangement. We setting everything down for me to go out there. But he actually went. When he came here, he went to the Florida. I'm sorry, I forgot the name.
Everglades or
the Everglades. Yeah, the Everglades.
That's cool.
And he got, he saw a couple alligators, and we went to the Miami Heat game. We have fun. We have fun that Monday, and we spend it together. So it was a great experience to spend it alongside with the champ.
When somebody asks Xander Zayas to describe himself as a fighter, you say what?
Smart, aggressive, that throws that is very precise with his combinations, throws the best combinations, punch the body, punch the head, good footwork, good head movement, keeping the hands up, and just wanting to get the victory by any means.
Xander Zayas has positioned himself at the top of the mountain as the representative of Puerto Rican boxing, and now it is Xander Zayas' turn to be participant in the Puerto Rico versus Mexico boxing war. Who do you think would be that guy?
Canelo Alvarez.
Whoa! Yeah, I love that, man.
I have to. Canelo. I respect Canelo Alvarez. I look up to Canelo Alvarez. One of my favorite boxers of all time too. But at the end of the day, he beat my favorite boxer. He retired my favorite boxer. Because let's be honest, after that fight with Miguel Cotto and Canelo, Miguel Cotto wasn't the same. He kind of retired. So I kind of want to, give him the revenge and kind of retire him.
What you're saying is what goes around comes around.
Comes around. 100%.
And you're gonna be okay with an 18-foot round? You with the
18-foot, you're good.
Hey, you can make it 10 by 10 if you want to. This is a fight.
Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you something. Yeah, go ahead, Jaffa. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you this, man. We just had a pay-per-view this weekend. There's another young 147-pounder who's got a few more fights than you, but could be a future fight. Mexico versus Puerto Rico in the future. Jesus Ramos and Xander Zayas, man. Would that be a fight you'd be interested in the future?
That would be a fight. That would be a fight that would be great for the fans. In the future, he, like you said, he's a little bit ahead of me in fights. But if we can make it happen in the future, that would mean a lot. He's a great fighter, strong fighter. But may the best man wins. I know I'm gonna put on a show like I always do, and hopefully if it happens, we'll put on a show for the fans.
That's right. And if you see Oscar Valdez in the near future, let him know G-Funk of HCP had his back against Alacran Berchelt. I was the only one here picking him to beat him. All right, let him know that.
Man. And what's funny? I was there live, and I wanted him to beat Alacran, but I also knew that Alacran was a strong guy. He was a strong gun, and he was there to fight. But Oscar just had the better game plan.
Yep.
Absolutely. Now I know you said that. Obviously, the Canelo fight's going to be big. Even if it was Irish, it would be big. You know what I mean? But how important is that to you to sometime, even if it's not against Canelo, just in general, to have a big Mexican versus Puerto Rican like pay-per-view or something of that magnitude?
Man, that will mean the world to me. The battles of Puerto Rico versus Mexico have always been a thing. Has always been big. That they have always sell tickets. They have always have the fans on their seat. Seeing who's gonna connect, who's gonna land the fastest or the strongest punch. So having a fight of that magnitude in the future will mean a lot. With any Mexican warrior, I will be there to fight. I will be there to give my heart out and get the victory by any means.
There you go. Xander, I want to thank you for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure for you to come out here on Hispanics Causin Panic. Are you down with HCP, Xander?
What was that?
Are you down with HCP? Are you down with us?
Come on now. Why would you ask me that? You had me confused a little. I'm like, wait, what? No, but what would you? Well, come on now. Like, I wouldn't be here. Absolutely. Right? No, I'm kidding. It's always a pleasure. having an interview with you guys. I always have fun. Last time was fun. This time was fun. I know next time is gonna be even funner. Again, I'm just blessed to have the opportunity that you guys always give me. It's like a house to me, and I'm just glad and blessed again to be here with you guys. So thank you.
Hey, you got big things coming for you, and you have yourself a good one, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Be good, brother. Be good.
Good luck, young gun.
Hey, G-Funk, you down with HCP?
Hey, you know me.
That's right. All right, and not to waste any time, we got our next guest on here, the one and the only Danny Roman. How's it going, brother?
How you guys doing, man? Pretty good.
We're
good, brother. We're good.
You know, the baby-faced assassin on here. First of all, thank you for being on Hispanics Causing Panic. And look, we've had you on before, and we talked to you about just being on the come up. But at the time, you didn't have a fight. Now you do have a fight, right?
Yes.
You're gonna come back on the 15th of May. Am I correct?
Yes. I'll be
15th of May, okay.
Here in Causin.
Okay, I was looking and I couldn't find you. Did you know your opponent?
Yes, it's Ricardo Espinosa.
Okay, all right. Are you what type of fight are you looking forward to on the 15th?
Oh, I seen him fight. He fought right here with Thompson, with my promoter. So I seen the guy fight. He comes to fight. Aggressive fighter and just keeps on coming forward, and he's gonna have a fight all night.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that fight. It's gonna be a televised fight.
Yes. I believe the co-main event.
Okay,
nice,
what card is that? Like, do you know what channel or what app?
It's Showtime.
Showtime.
And the Neri fight against Figueroa.
Well, there you go, man. That's going to be a hell of a card. You know what I mean? I can't wait for that. To be honest with you, man. Go ahead, G Funky.
Yeah, man. That should be a good fight. We're looking forward to it. But your division is pretty stacked, man. Who's the guy? I mean, obviously you want the best guy at the top, but besides him, who else would you want to get in this division?
Well, of course, I'm gonna go for the champions. But the division getting pretty hot. So
yeah,
give me some good names. But like always, I'm here to fight the best. So whoever they consider the best, throw them at me. We'll see if he's all that.
Yeah, Fulton just had a big win in his last fight against Angelo Leo. But man, I'm seeing a lot of names here, man. I mean, I would love to see you in with a lot of these guys. But it's good to see you back in there in the ring because it's been a long time. And I think last time you fought was on the Charlo undercard, right? That was back in September. Yeah. Yeah, I just hate to see guys, not getting fights right away. I feel like staying busy is the best thing, man. But I like that you're getting back in there. So, there's Neri. You said you're fighting on the Neri and the fight Figueroa. Yeah. But who do you think is going to win that fight, man? And because that's going to be a good fight, man. And you're on the undercard. But who do you think is going to win that one?
It's a good fight, Neri got his style, but I think Figueroa might pull it off, man. He's more aggressive. He's a heavier fighter, and we'll see. We'll see if Neri can handle the pressure of that Figueroa's gonna bring to him. So it'll be a good fight. I won't be surprised if Neri pulls it off too. But I think Figueroa got a chance.
So it looks like
do you have any? I was just gonna ask if you had any experience in the gym with any of these guys at the top of your division, and what do you think? Obviously you think you're gonna beat them, but you think there's a chance you could get any of these guys in the ring in the future?
Well, back in September, I won the WBC title eliminator against Payano. So hopefully after this fight, we can make it happen. The winner of that night, Neri or Figueroa. I want that fight. I earned the chance to fight the champion. So hopefully we'll make it this year before the year ends.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I know they've been advertising that the winner of Neri Figueroa is going to fight Fulton. So do you think like you're being, you're kind of down the line going to fight the winner of that like later in the year?
I mean, they got it lined up, but like, hey, I was already there first, so
Okay.
why they're avoiding me,
Okay, so you're gonna cut in like, no, you got to see me, like, I hear you. All right. Now they are asking, and it seems like anytime your name comes up, they do bring up, Akhmad Aliev. Do you want a rematch with him? Is that something that you want to get back?
Of course, I still got like I said, I still got unfinished business against MJ. I mean, I wasn't happy with the decision that happened last time, so we still got unfinished business. And yeah, I want that rematch. I mean, if this fight with the winner of the WBC, I mean for this May 15th, Figueroa and Nettie, or give me the rematch with MJ. I'm there. I want to fight him. If not, Fulton, what's up? I'm there.
That's right. Hey, let me tell you something. The Danny Roman wants to fight all of them. Okay, he wants that. He wants that smoke. Is the message I'm getting right now. He wants everybody. And talk to us, because right now you are in the middle of camp, right? To talk to us about camp. How is this camp going? Like, is it going pretty good? Any aches and pains? Like, how's this camp going?
Well, after my fight, I took a week off and I got back to the gym. I was motivated. I was planning to be being in the ring earlier than May, but stuff happens. This COVID stuff pandemic stuff is getting is not helping none of us out, but it's getting better little by little. So that's a good thing about it. So I had a great camp, training hard like always. I had good sparring partners. I did a good preparation for this fight, and I feel like I'm ready. Right now, like it's just keeping myself at weight and just doing the less, before the fight.
Okay. Do you find the kind of like the last 2 weeks or so, like when you're just losing the weight, is that the hardest part of camp for you, or is that the easiest part of camp for you?
I mean, I don't struggle with weight, so for me it's not that hard. Just like training all the time, you just want to get it over with. Like you start craving all this food. I mean, even before training camp, you don't even crave it how you crave it now. So I think that's one of the hard things. I don't struggle with the weight, but like I believe as a fighter, they tell you can't eat this, you can't eat tacos, you can't eat burros or pozole, menudo. I think that's the hardest part. But like overall, I'm good in weight. I just want to get in the ring. That's my problem. I just want to get it over with.
But after the fight, you have the tacos and the burro and all that, right? Like after.
And so, you know what? The funny thing is that even after the weigh-in, you eat something, you drink something, all that goes away.
Right.
So
Okay.
It's mostly your mind playing games with you.
Definitely. Now you did say you were planning to fight earlier in the year. What, if you could explain to us, like what do you do to make sure you don't overtrain yourself? Like, what do you take, like a little break in between, or like what's the process for that?
Yeah, that's what my team did. Because they saw me training. It's like, the fight got pushed, or they gave us a different fight date, so we stopped for a little bit. We didn't stop completely, but like we slowed down a little bit, and we took a little break in between, and try to pace myself so I won't burn myself out.
There, okay. Go ahead, Chicano.
Nice to talk to you again, man. I just had a question. We've had a lot of prospects on since we spoke with you last, and when I look at your career, and you're a former unified champion, and you're still a top-ranked contender. You've had an unqualified, successful career, man, and you still have plenty of years left if you want them. So I want to know, like, how many more years do you see yourself possibly boxing, and do you see a life outside of boxing afterwards, or do you see yourself staying close to boxing? Like, what's your mind frame at right now?
I mean, I got a lot of options even before after I retired. I said I wanted to be a police officer, sheriff, deputy, CHP, so or get out my own business, or even be a trainer. So like, but thinking about doing boxing, maybe three more years for me.
Nice. Thanks, Danny.
Good, Raul.
So, first of all, welcome and thank you for being here with us. You have pictured your career already, obviously, from what I'm hearing. You've put a limit to your career. What by hearing you, what made you decide to want to pursue a career in law enforcement? Because especially in these times in which we're living, this unfortunate times where law enforcement is looked at as something that's completely being misconstrued. You know, we got a bad apples in any organization. What makes you want to be involved in law enforcement, especially in these times right now?
Yes, well, that was my second wish as a kid. You know, growing up, I saw this officers going up. I was even in a sheriff training place for boxing, and like I liked it. You know, I liked the guys. They were cool guys. I liked the work they did, and so it was a dream as a kid. You know, outside of boxing. So I'm still like, if it can happen, you know, I'll pursue it.
So have you already taken some sort of steps towards moving, you know, as far as law enforcement related, or you're gonna have to start from scratch once you finish boxing, like any type of criminal justice in college, or you're gonna have to go to an academy? Do you have anything already done, or is this something that you just starting from scratch once you retire boxing?
It's something I'm thinking about. You know, I'm not like 100%. I'll do it, but like it's just something in the back of my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? I might give it a try.
Okay. Well, I might much respect for you for even having that in your head, man. And if you do take that step, much respect to you, and I wish you the best, man. I hope everything goes good for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Foray, did you have any questions?
I do. Hey, Danny Roman, nice to speak with you, brother. Yeah, Chicano Prophet just mentioned, you know, just to remind everybody, you were the former unified champion, and you went and did that. You went across the world to go get that championship in Japan, but now you're going to be fighting in your backyard, the StubHub Center. We just saw Andy Ruiz on the road to redemption for himself to win back his championship, right? What do you make of the people of La Raza fighting in the stands, man? I mean, it's not something I enjoy seeing. Sure, we might giggle here and laugh, man, but just the thought of somebody, you know, bringing their child and then somebody getting sucker punched, man. I don't know. I just thought your thoughts on that. As the person who we're paying to see you, that you train for you, we're paying to see you win the fight, you know, and hear people in the stands want to act like fools, man. What do you think about that?
I mean, I guess people, they drink a little too much, you know. Or I mean, I know Hispanic community, the Latinos, they love boxing, you know, so they get passionate about it. But like that's one thing we don't want, you know. We want people to go see us, enjoy the event. We put everything out there for you guys so you guys can enjoy it. But like, you know, stuff happens. You know, we don't want it to happen, but fortunately, a little too much of a drink gets you a little heated. And like I said, people are passionate about the sport. They love the sport, you know. They love cheering for the guy they're cheering for and supporting. And a few words go around, and that's how it starts, you know. But like we don't like seeing that. Well, I'm talking for myself, you know, I don't like seeing that, you know. There's already a fight in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, some of these fights are going on while the action's going on in the ring. It's just like totally disrespectful to the fighters, man. But thank you for taking your time and coming on here, man.
Hey, I agree 100%. If I want to see that, I'll go to a bar. If I go to a prize fight, I want to see the professionals do it. Okay, so it's as simple as that, man. Hey, Danny, I know you're in the middle camp, and we definitely appreciate you coming on. All right. You know, keep up the good work, man. I wish you nothing but the best. And definitely after your fight, you know, I do believe you're going to win. So after your win, we'd like to definitely have you back on the podcast and all that good stuff, man. Go get some rest and all that, man. Any final words you want to give out to the fans watching?
Yeah. Thank you to all my fans that have supporting me. Everyone since the beginning. I'm be fighting local here in my backyard in Causin. If you can be there, check it out. It'll be a good event. Like always, you know, I'll give my best, and we'll come out victorious that night, going against the great fighter Ricardo Espinosa, and it'll be a good night. Thank you all for your support, and thank you guys for having me here too. You know, I know I'm kind of busy right now with this training camp, but like, you know, I gotta show some love too.
That's right, man. Good luck in that fight, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
He don't need luck. He don't need luck. That's why he's training, right? Right. Have a good one, Danny.
Take care. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man. Right. Hey, guys, the baby-faced assassin, bro. Okay, like there you go. Make sure you guys catch him and all that good stuff. Good stuff so far. We appreciate Boxing Wave. He says, great interview so far, guys. I appreciate it. He said we asked some good questions. Yeah, we appreciate it, man. That's why we like having these guests on. I buy a house to salute to everyone and the panel. And I know somebody was asking earlier, man, that they were like, yo, where's that artwork? Like everyone's in love with your painting, Chicano.
Thanks, man. It's looking good. I'm going to debut it here shortly. I'm working on getting it framed, but, it came out really good. This artist, I told him, you know what, I want Canelo in Aztec garb. Can you do it? And he said, yeah, I think I can, man. And I'll talk more about it later, but yeah, that thing is sweet. And I got a lot of people who like it. So I'm definitely looking forward to showing it off. You guys have already take a good look at it with the promo that DStyle put on, man. Like, it looks slick, dude.
Hey, I know you wanted to come on for the interviews there, 408. Everyone catch the shoe shine every Monday. 4-8, real quick, before we let you go, brother, you give us a quick prediction for Canelo versus Billy Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you coming on the shoe shine last night. If the fans who have never tuned into it, there is a going bet. Drew Evo has not recanted on the bet. Philly Irish says he will take a pie if Billy Joe loses. So I'm very excited. There's a lot of skin.
Taking a pie.
There's skin in the game now. Whether D-Styles is taking a pie 2 times in a row or whether Philly Irish will be taking a pie next Monday. I see him in the chat. I appreciate you. I'm going to drop the link to our channel so everybody can either see Philly Irish take a pie next Monday. My thoughts on the fight, man. All the shenanigans that came out today, it just added a whole new level of dramatics and theatrics into it. And I didn't expect it on a Tuesday. But this fight is, all of social media is going to be buzzing about this fight this weekend, man. They're going to put on a show. They really are going to put on a show. A little bit diva stuff that went on today, but I don't think the outcome is going to be affected. I do believe Canelo Alvarez will have an answer to everything Billy Joe Saunders is going to bring to him. And unfortunately, you look at the history of the judges in Texas, Billy Joe's going to need a knockout. And if Triple G in his prime didn't knock out Canelo, if Kovalev with the big overhand right didn't knock out Canelo, I don't see that happening, man. So Canelo by decision if BJ Saunders is lucky. Hey, D-Styles, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely.
All right, 408. Have a good one, bro.
Later, bro.
You too, guys.
Hey, Philly Irish, if once Canelo wins, I will send you this back via Cash App so you could buy the pie, okay? So there you go. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, shout out to everybody, man. This is a big fight week. We will be back right after this short clip.
With his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, wearing black with white, also weighing in at 167.6 pounds. In his professional career, 54 victories, including 36 big wins by knockout, only 1 defeat with 2 draws, and he's undefeated for 6 years, and considered by many to be, pound for pound, the best in the world. He's the former 2-time light middleweight world champion, former middleweight world champion, former light heavyweight world champion, the reigning, defending super middleweight champion of the world, damas y caballeros de Guadalajara, Jalisco, México, representando al gran campeón, Saul Canelo.
And we're back on Hispanics, Causin, Panic. I'm your host, DStyleBoxing. We will be talking about the Canelo thing, but first we got to cover the aftermath of the weekend, okay? So I want you to check this out. Aside from my sister texting me if I could take care of her dog while she goes watch the Canelo fight in the weekend, outside from that, okay, like you take care of your dog while you go watch Canelo fight. I'm going to tell her the fight was canceled because Billy Joe, wanted a bigger ring is what I'm going to say. All right. But hey, check it out. Okay. before we get to that, all right, let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the weekend. Just really quick, Chief Funky, what is your good of the weekend, brother?
My good was the pay-per-view, man. I felt like it was worth the $50. You know, I felt like all the fights were really good, really entertaining. Even the main event was supposed to be a walkover for Ruiz. Ended up being a really good fight. So I was pleased with the card this weekend.
Okay. What's your good, Chicano?
My good for the week is Ariola's performance. For those who don't know, I was kind of a big Ariola fan back in the day. I went to go see him fight Klitschko. I went to go see him fight Adamek. So it's good to see him still in contention, getting those paydays and making a good account of himself. I really enjoyed the fight, and I'm hoping to see him against another contender in the future.
Okay. All right. And Raw, what is the good of the weekend, brother?
I have to agree with Chicano. The good of the weekend for me was the apparent and the obvious improvement that Ariola has made under Causin. Not only that, I even though that he wasn't as successful as he might have wanted to be, he did very good. I mean, to get the knockdown versus Ruiz, and then to wobble him a couple times, that's pretty good. And another good was the fight itself, guys. The fight was an excellent fight.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Look, for me, the good of the weekend was Katie Taylor, okay, against, wow, I forgot her name. Help me out, guys. I forgot her name. Jonas, I apologize, but it was a great fight. Katie Taylor put on a great performance, in my opinion. It was close, but man, was that a hell of a fight. More fights like that for the women. And you know what I was thinking? If that was 12 rounds and 3 minutes, it would have been even better, is what I was thinking. Okay, they need more time. Like the rounds are getting really good, and then ding ding, And it's not like they were just throwing to the wind. Like, they just need more time. So that's my good of the weekend, right? Raw, give us your bad of the weekend, brother.
Definitely the action by the fans on the bleachers. I mean, look, they've been locked up for a year or so, right? Then when we get the opportunity of being out here, we act in a fool. That's just it. The unfortunate part of that is that people see this, and you know what they're gonna say? Oh, this is how Latinos are, right? And that's not even the case at all. Now, I understand sometimes that the alcohol can get some people outside of line, but to me, that was just a bad right there, to be honest with you. And the other bad, man, the ugly, I don't know, it's the obvious, man. What happened in Puerto Rico? So that is the real ugly of the weekend.
Man, I hear you, brother. Hey, what's your bad of the weekend, Chicano?
For me, my bad of the weekend is Joe Goosen's late round game plan. It kind of surprised me. I was mentioning earlier how I really liked the way Ariola conducted himself. He did a very good job, but I thought he was going to open up a little bit more towards the end. And, we're talking about Joe Causin. This guy knows how to march his fighter forward. No problem. He's done it before with a lot of previous fighters. He's very frank with his fighters. Instead, at the end, I was hearing things like, okay, well, be controlled, be smart, go to the body a little bit. The old Joe Causin, I know, would have told him to go for it. That's what I was also expecting from Ariola as well. He didn't really seem to go for it when he knew that he needed that to win, to maybe get another title shot. So that's why I think Ariola did conduct himself well. So he deserves another payday, but he doesn't deserve a rematch, in my opinion.
Well said. And what is your bad of the weekend, G Funky?
My bad of the weekend is Joseph Parker, a.k.a. the heavyweight version of Keith Thurman. This guy, man, let me tell you something, man. I'm not going to waste another Saturday afternoon watching this guy stink up the joint again, okay? He had an old, tired Chisora in front of him, rounds 8, 9, 10, 11, and this guy was just satisfied with just, piling up his little points, piling up rounds, instead of taking the guy out who was there to be taken out, I'm sorry, man. I'm not with it. I'm not with the Parker, man. I'm not with that guy. And the reason why I say he's like Keith Thurman is because Thurman's the type of dude, if he gets, he feels he's got 7 rounds, 8 rounds in the bank, he's just going to coast the rest of the night, and just do the bare minimum. And that's exactly what Parker did, man. It went exactly how I thought. A little bit chippy first 4 or 5 rounds. Chisora gets tired. I was expecting him to maybe try to take him out, step on the gas, but no. So Parker is my bad of the weekend.
Man, oh man. The bad of the weekend to me, and it was really, really bad, was definitely the Verdejo situation. I still can't believe it. It almost ruined my weekend. You just can't let stuff like that ruin your weekend. You gotta, life moves on, and it is what it is. But to me, that's probably not going to be topped. It only a few things reminded me of it. It brought me flashbacks to the Valero situation, right? What Valero did, and even what Baltimore did, which was really disgusting too. So, and I hate that. I hate seeing like our athletes do stuff like that in the sport that we love. It just gives the sport a black eye, and I really hope they don't push this head injury thing with Verdejo, and then because that can have consequences for the sport. Like, he fucked up, and then he's still going to affect our sport. Like, nah, bro. You know what I mean? So it was just unreal.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with no head injury, and it was too well planned and premeditated for that to even stick. And on top of that, you got to remember, this is going to go in front of a panel. Everybody in San Juan is requesting the death penalty. The only one so far that has come out publicly saying, I don't want the death penalty, I want life without parole, is the victim's mom. Right? But this kid, I don't see this kid getting out of the hook on this one at all.
I don't see it, brother. Hey, Chicano, what is your ugly of the weekend, brother?
My ugly of the week is Ruiz's comeback story so far. I just want to take us back a little bit. Before this fight, to me, we were all talking about like, hey, this fight will be good while it lasts. Hey, we know Ariola, he comes to bring it. Let's not forget that the odds were Ruiz was a 20-1 favorite. So I'm hearing, yes, Ruiz controlled the fight. Well, I mean, he was supposed to control the fight. That's what we expected, and I honestly think that a lot of fans could take him or leave him. And if we take him and they see that we're taking him and supporting him, they're going to charge us more to see this comeback story and pay more pay-per-views to see him maybe fight a Luis Ortiz. I still needed to see more. This fight didn't show me anything anyways. Like, I didn't care for the way he kind of mailed in his championship rematch. I don't like the way he threw Robles under the bus. So, I mean, I'm just going to observe him for now. I'm not ready to get behind him. And so to me, that's my ugly of the week.
All right. Chief Funky, what's your ugly of the week, brother? Weekend.
There was quite a few. I mean, obviously, you guys spoke about Verdejo, but that's beyond ugly, in my opinion. Figueroa's weird defense that he was doing in there, that was ugly too. But for me, the most ugly has to be the fans. The fans over there fighting in Causin. There was multiple fights. I think there's about 4 or 5 fights. I mean, I understand you guys have been cooped up in quarantine this whole time, and I know as soon as you see another vato out there in the street, it's funk season, you know what I'm saying? But man, we got to control ourselves, man. We got to do better than this, okay? And I hate the fact that people that from the media are filming this on their phone instead of watching the damn fight that's going on, so that to me is the ugly of the weekend.
In defense of the media, I mean, they do got to cover what's going on. That's how we know stuff happens. But we would have known anyway with all the camera phones around nowadays. You know what I mean? That was your ugly of the weekend too, right, Raw? The fighting?
Yeah, that one of them. Yes, of course. And then in collaboration with the Verdejo situation.
Okay, gotcha. Let me tell you guys something. Okay. I don't know what's more embarrassing. The fact that the razas in the stands fighting each other, okay? Or the boxing reporters acting like it's such a cool thing. Like, oh, yeah, these are the fighting grounds. And like they were pumping the shit up. Like, shut up, dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, come on, what are you doing? Now, granted, look, if 2 dudes are fighting, it is what it is. But, there's no need to be sucker punching people. There's women there getting hit. And then the women are like like striking at the dudes too when they're not looking. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, he's gonna turn around and probably smack you or something. And then what are we supposed to do? If you take off your tacon and you fucking swing at a dude across the head, he turns around and punches you. What am I gonna do? Like, oh, why'd you hit her? Get out of there! What are you doing? Like, get the fuck out! Like, what are you doing? Right?
Correct.
So it's this is crazy, bro. All right. Like, get it together. I get it. You've been quarantined. Okay, you've been bored at home. It's on site, like Chief Funky says, and you're throwing hands in the stands. Ain't like if you want to fight, they get paid to do it. Like go to a boxing gym, learn how to box, and go get paid to do it or something. Like, what are you doing fighting for free in the stands? What are you doing? Right? I mean, I don't know. Hey, but it's whatever, bro. I didn't know whether to laugh or get mad. It was just one of those, like, so I'll just do both. Like, what the fuck? All right? So that's all I got to say about that. All right?
Definitely.
With that said, I do want to say, by the way, that is my ugly, by the way, but I do want to say, great fight. Look, I'm not going to complain about the fight, but I just expected Andy Ruiz to do more. And I don't know if he could use ring rust as an excuse, because guess what? Arreola was out of the ring longer. Okay?
But I think we're being a bit unfair. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you why. I think we're being a bit unfair with the Andy Ruiz situation, because by doing that, we're treating Arreola as if he was some guy that hasn't shown to be a warrior, that hasn't shown to be able to take a punch. I mean, think about how long it took Deontay Wilder to get Arreola out of there. Think about all the bombs he took from Deontay Wilder, right? And then when you take the hardest hitting heavyweight in the history of professional boxing, Deontay Wilder, right, who had to do all that work to get him out of there, and you compare him to an Andy Ruiz, who is not a devastating puncher, who is a volume puncher. I mean, we shouldn't expect Andy Ruiz to just go in there and blow him with one punch. I think the fight was very entertaining. I think Andy Ruiz did a pretty good job. I mean, the combinations were there. The 1-2-1 was there. The feint left hook followed with a right cross followed with a left hook upstairs was there. The one with the overhand right over the jab was there. The fight was a very interesting fight. Would people wanted to see a knockout? Yeah, but it didn't happen, and this is boxing. I can tell you this for a fact. All of those people that are writing up Andy Ruiz right now, just because of what they saw, they got another thing coming, man. You don't make a transition in the way that Andy Ruiz did and then come in and become this kryptonite. You got another thing coming for you guys. And I guess it's good that you guys are downplaying Andy Ruiz, because it's going to be even better when he makes some of you guys look bad out there. What I saw from a boxing point of view, from a technical point of view, I thought it was good. And look, I absolutely love my boy Luis Ortiz, but this Andy Ruiz, even with the quote unquote mistakes. No. I'm going there. Hey, you know me. I'm not gonna hold back.
You're not gonna say it.
Luis, well, I'll say it for you. Luis Ortiz is an excellent heavyweight. Let's get that out of the way.
True.
But Luis Ortiz of this era, of right now, will not beat this Andy Ruiz. Now, 5 years ago, Luis Ortiz would have destroyed Andy Ruiz. 2 years ago, I still would have gone for Luis Ortiz. This Andy Ruiz, in my opinion, not only is a volume puncher, his punches has become sharper. His accuracy is increasing. He shouldn't have been able to land the overhand rights with that he landed against Arreola as much as he did, with the taller fighter as much as he did, with an Arreola that came in with the earmuffs on, an Arreola that came in to move, bob, and weave, an Arreola that we can all agree here that Causin didn't want him to engage all the way. So, yeah, maybe Andy Ruiz was expecting that guy that was coming in for war and for blood. But he didn't get it. Instead, he got a guy that was more careful about the situation. I love Luis Ortiz. I think Luis Ortiz is still a top contender. Even at his age, I have to give him his credit. Forget about me saying he ain't going to win because of skills. This has nothing to do with skills. This has all in all to do with the times, the age. This Andy Ruiz, in my opinion, beats Ortiz. And keep riding him off, man. Give him 2 more fights. And if he stays disciplined, because ultimately it's up to him. If he can stay away from El Taco Naco, he's going to be good. If he can stay away from the taco trucks, he's going to be good, man.
Do you see him being a world champion again? Like, where do you see him in 2 fights?
I don't see him being a world champion as of now. I think Fury is too dominant. Yeah, I'm sorry, D-Style, you don't like to hear that. I think Fury is too dominant. I do think, here's the deal though. I do think he can beat Anthony Joshua again. I think a well-trained Andy Ruiz can beat Anthony Joshua again. Anthony Joshua was able to dance around a extremely fat Andy Ruiz. And Andy Ruiz, they're relaxed. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go in there and just take a few shots and catch him with a lucky shot, get him out of there. And Joshua was like, no, I'm coming to stick a move. Right? Well, guess what?
It just wasn't what the expectations were. I'll just say
you cannot stick and move if you haven't trained. If you're 35, 40 pounds heavier than you usually are, if the more mass you got there, the less upper body movement you got. I don't think
so.
Go ahead.
No, definitely. I see what you're saying, and I'm pulling for Ruiz. I'm second guessing if he'll ever be champion again, but I just think he needs to take 3 or 4 fights.
Not as long as Tyson Fury is the champ. I'm sorry, D.
We'll see about that, but
we can take a fight on that.
But here's what I'll say though: Chicano and because I want to get to the Canelo thing. So Chicano and G Funky. Anything you guys wanted to add about Ruiz Arreola before we wrap that one up?
You can go ahead, Chicano, because I'm going to roll. I'm going to roll on this one. Go ahead, man.
Well, I just happen to think that Ruiz, I think that he can be a middle of the pack heavyweight contender. He already is. So I don't think that I'm personally writing him off. I don't know if you're talking about me specifically, but I'm interested in seeing like championship heavyweight boxing. I think that he could go back in there and fight another Parker or Chisora and be very entertaining. But as far as him getting to the top of the mountain, I don't necessarily see it. And like I said, he's going to have to continue to stay hungry. Like, the trick was to go to the Canelo camp and, prove himself again. Can he stay hungry? We've already seen that there's been times where he loses it. He's actually lost it multiple times in his career. There's a lot of evidence of that. So we'll see. Like I said, if he does do good, like I'll be happy for him. I'm not the hater, but like I said, I'm just going to watch him and observe. Like I'm not ready to like back him necessarily. Those are my final thoughts on it.
Chief Funky, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm going to say this, man. Okay. First things first, I want to give a lot of credit to Chris Arreola and to Joe Goosen. They had a really good game plan against Andy Ruiz. Now, to me, Ruiz looked like the same guy. Obviously he lost a lot of weight.
Come up so far.
He looked like the same guy. All right. They decided to box a little bit. You notice Arreola was backing up. He was going to the sides. It wasn't really throwing a lot of punches. He was making Andy Ruiz the aggressor. We know Andy Ruiz is a good counterpuncher. He likes to counterpunch. So naturally, he's not going to throw a lot of punches. Naturally, he's not going to be the aggressor like that. So, I think everybody just needs to just, take it easy. He's got some rust. He's been off for a long time. He's lost a lot of weight. He's got a new trainer. Now, I know he got knocked down, and again, credit to Arreola. Knocked him down, hurt him in the next round. But for the rest of the fight, I felt Andy Ruiz controlled this guy with a very intelligent jab to the head, to the body. He was throwing beautiful. He was ending him with beautiful left hooks at the end of his combinations. He was catching them almost every time. And again, credit to Arreola. He took those shots well. As where another guy over there in England couldn't take those left hooks well. All right? So we got to give credit where credit is due. All right? I'm not going to sit here and act like this is all on Ruiz. This was, a good game plan and good strategy by Arreola. You know, and there are some things, again, they need to tighten up on. We all seen the same thing with Valdez when he went over to fight with Reynoso and them. It took him a few fights to get used to the style. And then look what happened against Alacran. Like I told you guys was going to happen, all right? And I'm telling you again right now, Andrew Ruiz is going to be at the top of the division again, man. He's got a chance against any of these dudes, man. That's all I got to say.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. At the end of the day, the beautiful thing about boxing, y'all got to do it in the ring, right? Like that's the way it's gonna go. Regardless of what anybody says, the truth will come out in the ring. So, and you said it, Raw. If he stays disciplined, which I hope he does, he said all the right things in the post fight. He said he wants to go right back to the training camp. If you want to be successful in life, you surround yourself with successful people. And you know who's more successful than Canelo in boxing? Who's more successful than that team? And he's there all day. They let him take his son over there. He could hang out over there, and guess what? We're going to train here. We're going to have some fun, but we're going to train. You know what I mean? And we're going to be serious when it's necessary. Let's talk Canelo versus Saunders. Who's ready? Let me tell you something. I am up. We got channels out here, by the way, acting like no one's excited for this fight. Man, you motherfuckers gonna watch, okay? The thing, it's gonna be held at a fucking stadium, brother, okay? All right?
There's 70,000 people going to this fight.
You know about the fight, okay? Shout out to Jamal Charlo, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Canelo's the baddest motherfucker. He said he's the best. Who am I gonna trust, Jamal? The guy who makes his money boxing and not putting narratives on YouTube, or am I going to believe the narratives on YouTube? Oh, I think I'll take Jamal Charlo. You know what I mean? I'm just going to say that. Yeah. But anyway, now that I got that out of the way, you guys can touch on it if you want to, but I spoke my piece on that. Canelo versus Saunders.
Let me go first on this one.
I concur. That's all I'm going to say.
Go ahead.
Let me go first on this one because I feel that for what I've been hearing, and I hope Philly Irish is still out there in the chat, I'm sick and tired of hearing Canelo has issues with the fighters that move. I mean, come on, let's stop playing Nintendo 64. We got PS5 out here. Let's move on, okay? You keep talking about a Canelo from 7 years ago. You are talking about a Canelo from 7 years ago that had, in fact, issues with fighters that move. In fact, if you ask me today, I'm still a firm believer that Lara beat him. Today, this is not the same Canelo. This Canelo is not the same Canelo. This Canelo may not have the Ali shuffle, but this Canelo knows how to cut the ring in an excellent way. Not only that, a lot of people think cutting the ring is the use of the legs. Sometimes you cut the ring by simple feints. You prevent your opponent from moving in circles with simple feints, right? Canelo knows how to not only feint, he knows how to stay positioned in front of you. He done it to fighters that love to move. Let's remember something. Daniel Jacobs was not a brawler. And he was able to neutralize anything that Daniel Jacobs brought to him. Let's just keep that in mind. A lot of people keep saying that, Canelo, if you can just move, he's not going to know what to do. The British fighter, Smith, was a fighter that could move if you study his career. Canelo went in there and completely neutralized his movement by cutting the ring and staying in front of him. Staying in the mid-range, right? Now, I'm not saying he's going to be 100% successful 100% of the time, cutting the ring and neutralizing Billy Joe Saunders' movement. But the notion that we have a Canelo that has these issues that with fighters that move today, it's ludicrous. It's nonsense to me. The question you have to ask yourself is this. The question shouldn't be, can Canelo deal with Billy Joe Saunders' movement? The question should be, can Billy Joe Saunders deal with the fact that Canelo might be able to just give himself in to take a few shots in order to land a few? What would happen then? Because let's not pretend that Billy Joe Saunders has the power to even face Canelo. Canelo might just choose to, okay, here's the face, come get it, and counterpunch within the punch of Billy Joe Saunders. What's going to happen if Canelo starts ripping them left hooks to the body? That's one of the ultimate weapons to prevent movement, to start eliminating movement from your opponent, because moving requires a lot of gas. And if you stab the gas tank, the more gas leaks out, the less you're going to have to be moving. That's the question y'all have to ask yourself. It's not whether Canelo has issue with movement. It's what's going to happen to Saunders when he has to deal with the ring being cut, when he has to deal with, yeah, I'm landing at ease, but I'm also getting hit in the process of it. And can he withstand that for 12 rounds?
Wow. Okay. All right. Hey, let me tell you guys, me and Rob don't always agree, but when we agree, we're undefeated.
Facts.
Okay.
That makes three of us.
That's right. There you go. Hey, Chief Funky, I'm going to make you wait. Hey, Chicano Prophet.
That's right. Those who pick Canelo on A side tonight.
For us, brother. Prophesize for us.
Well, I'd be happy to, man. Rob broke it down nicely, and I totally agree, bro. And on top of that, too, it's not Canelo's job to chase down a Billy Joe Saunders. If it was always advantageous for somebody to go on the back foot and both fighters wanted to do it, we wouldn't have a fight. So to me, we're here to see people get into a fight and to box. There's a difference between running and being in the pocket, and you can be in range and get out of range, but eventually the fight's going to have to get in range. Billy Joe has to punch Canelo at some point, and if he's going to punch Canelo, that means he's in range of him. And like Ross said, Billy Joe ain't going to hurt Canelo. Like, what's he going to do? He ain't going to do shit. Canelo is going to be hitting him with shit he's never felt before in his whole life. And see, G Funky's there doing his little violin. G Funky's a hater. He's a hater. And if you watch, he's been hedging his bets. This is just like back in the day with the Cotto fight. He's like, oh, the judges are going to give it to Canelo. So either way, he's going to be right no matter what, unless Billy Joe wins by knockout. But we know that's not going to happen. So don't hedge your bets, G Funky, coming up. Here's what I think is going to happen. I think after the first few rounds, I think Billy Joe will look good, but eventually he's going to tire out. He's going to get in range of Canelo. Canelo will take shots. Canelo's going to be faster than Billy Joe expected. And pretty soon, Billy Joe's just not going to want anymore. And eventually, it's just going to be up to Canelo whether he wants to finish off Billy Joe or not. I think this fight's going to be a lot easier than people think towards the end. And Canelo's going to show you how he can win the fight, but he doesn't necessarily even have to cut off the ring. Watch for him early. He's a much more mature fighter. He's going to be in there with good stage presence. He's going to be sitting there like ready to engage, but he's not going to sit there and try to chase the guy down. You guys both have to engage to fight, and Canelo's going to be aware of that, and he's going to take advantage.
Before G Funky goes, D-Style, there's a question there from Boxing Fan. Post it and let me answer that question.
Okay.
I think the question is, what's going to happen when Canelo? Let's see, what's going to happen when Canelo is hitting air? Okay, I'm Eddie Reynoso, right? And the first thing I tell Canelo is go out there and don't focus on the head. Focus from the chest down. Start ripping that body the first 3 rounds consistently. Stay within the mid-range and stay inside consistently. Forget the head, because that's what a slickster wants. A slickster's like a cat that, he goes low on the grass, raises his tail, and he does this, right? Because he wants you to focus on the head, and when you shoot, he moves. And once you miss, he makes you pay. But guess what? The head moves. But the torso has limited movement, and it's a bigger target. And guess what? You can destroy that torso and cause a lot of damage and destroy the ability to move. If I'm Eddie Reynoso, I tell Canelo that head is non-existent. Tonight, the first 3 to 4 rounds, your focus is to completely destroy the body. And then we can talk about the head.
Hey, the Felton son of HCP, they're calling G Funky. Wow, bro. Hey, really quick, William Boxing, I appreciate the support, brother. He says the slower Canelo that would take middle rounds off, he would touch up Saunders. I actually agree with that. Okay, but G Funky, go ahead, talk to us. Talk to us, G Funky.
Let me tell you guys something, man, and all you guys in the chat right now. All right. You need people like me, all right? So you can point your fucking finger at me, all right? You're damn right I'm the bad guy in this one, all right? Because you know why? I don't play this game. I don't play the whole, let's just go ahead and say this and say that. Look, at the end of the day, I'm a guy. I keep it real, man. I get my real, honest opinion, okay? Now, I heard Chicano Prophet say some things about me hedging my bets because I'm talking about the judges, all right? Are we going to forget that the judges gave 11 rounds to Canelo against Austin Trout? Are we going to forget that? Are we going to forget that he got 9 rounds against Lara, 10 rounds against Cotto, again, another 10 rounds against Golovkin, and he got a draw against Mayweather? We're going to forget that? But I'm the crazy one for saying that he gets the benefit of the bout. I'm the crazy one, right? Yeah, this is my turn to talk, all right? This is my turn to speak, all right? I'm not going to forget that, and you guys want to forget that, but guess what? I'm not going to forget that, okay? He's going to get the benefit of the doubt when the rounds are close, whether you guys want to hear it or not, okay? And the bottom line is this. I need to see him do it before I say he can do it. If he goes out there and does it, great. I say he can do it. He's improved that part of his game. All credit to him. But I haven't seen him do it yet. That's all I'm saying. So if you guys want to come at me, I'm a hater, I'm this, I'm that, that's fine. That's all good, you know? But when I give this guy credit, you're like, yeah, G-Funk, yeah, man, yeah, you know? I like that he's going for undisputed. I like that he's going for all the belts. I love that. I have no problem with any of you guys saying that he's the number 1 pound for pound guy. I got no issue with that. But when I say, hey, look, man, I want to see him deal with the movement a little bit better. Oh, man, you're a hater. Man, stop crying. Stop being sensitive. All right? And just be honest about some shit, man. All right? That's all I'm saying. Now, they want to put this guy in an 18-foot ring. We just heard Xander Zayas come on here and say that ring that they had that night was an 18-foot ring. That ring was tiny. That ring was tiny.
That's not the only thing Xander said. What else did Xander say?
You guys okay with that?
What else does Xander say?
Are you guys okay with that size ring, though, is what I'm saying? I mean, come on. We know there's a reason why he's doing that. We know there's a reason why he's doing that.
I am okay with it. You know why? Mayweather versus De La Hoya. How big was the ring?
Against who?
Mayweather versus De La Hoya. How big was the ring?
You know what? I know it was big. I don't know the exact size, but I know it was a big
ring. It wasn't big at all. It was a small ring. Yeah, no, De La Hoya didn't allow a big ring. And Mayweather danced around him, right? But you know the difference, and I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with you. I thought that the Trout fight was not a landslide like the judges had it. I thought that Lara beat Canelo. It wasn't oh my gosh, Lara but Lara even on numbers landed more. But again, that's Nintendo 64 era. We're in the era of PlayStation 5. We're in the future. We have a new fighter. He is a new fighter. When you compare those two fighters, back in the days, when did you see Canelo bobbing and weaving, slipping and sliding as much as he does today? You just didn't. You just saw a fighter with his earmuffs on, and in fact, he was so stationary that Canelo's brother, a very stiff fighter, was able. Not Canelo's brother, Cotto's brother, a very stiff fighter, was able to land on the 18-year-old in Miami. But that was then. Now, I do get what you're saying. It's easy for us to sit here and talk, and then we got to see him execute it, though. But again, I want to take you guys to the fight with Daniel Jacobs. We can't sit here and say that Daniel Jacob was a stationary fighter that only came forward, that had no movement. And what did Canelo do in that fight? We can't sit here and pretend that Smith was a stationary fighter that only came forward, that was a brawler and had no movement. And what did Canelo do in that fight? That's what I'm trying to say here. And as far as the slickness of Billy Joe Saunders, hell yeah, he is, man. But I'm telling you, there's plenty of a slick fighter is a cat, a domestic cat. Don't pay attention to the tail, because he gonna get you. And if I know that, I know somebody like Eddie Reynoso knows that for a fact.
Let me know when I can go.
Billy Joe Saunders. Hold on. Billy Joe Saunders fought in a 20-by-22 ring that he asked for. Billy Joe Saunders took a big fall. All of Billy Joe Saunders' horsemen and all of Billy Joe Saunders' men were never able to put Billy Joe Saunders back together again. He's going to get destroyed, brother. I'm just going to let you know right now. All right? And unless you're ready to just say you think he's going to win, I don't think you have anything else to say because you know Canelo's going to win the fight.
I've already made my prediction, man. But all I'm saying is this. For months, I've been hearing from a lot of guys that I'm seeing in the chat right now, and some guys that are on this panel, that he's so much better with the movement. He's so much better at cutting off the ring and all that.
Is he going to lose?
But I want to know why he wanted a small-ass ring. Why he wanted one of the smallest rings you could get. That's the question I'm asking.
It was the same size Hagler wanted. Remember, you were complaining that Leonard wanted a bigger ring. He got a 20 by 20. They used to fight 18 by 18 all the time. I always hear old school cats say, I want Canelo to be like the old school cats while they fought in an 18 by 18.
He knows he cannot cut the ring off that well. That's what that tells me, man. And we're going to see that Saturday. Watch. We're going to see that on Saturday. We're going to see that on Saturday.
Not necessarily. I mean, it could be that, but it could also be the fact that he knows he's the A side. And as the A side, you always want to have an upper hand. It doesn't matter whether you can clear your opponent easily or hard. If you have the upper hand on any negotiation, you're going to implement it. He's been the B side. He has submitted to all kinds of requests from A side. He's the A side now. He has requests and they need to be met. And from what last I checked, I think the ring situation is already taken care of. I mean, it's not hard to understand that this kid was once a B. Now he's the A. And he's calling the shots. And let's be real here.
I don't have a problem with him doing that, though, Rob. Like my issue is not that. I understand he's the A side. He's gonna get a majority of the things his way in negotiations. But my only point was that he wants a small ring because he wants to take away Billy Joe's best strength, and that's the movement.
And that's there's nothing. And as A side, as the guy calling the shots, if I'll put it this way, I'll make it personal. If you were the A side and you knew that was something you could use to get a victory, you would use it as well.
Possibly.
That's
but my thing is this, like I'm saying, I don't forget shit, man. I was called a lot of things back in the day, right? Recently.
I was the number one Canelo hater. Don't forget about that.
Me too.
So, but I'm putting things in perspective where they belong. I cannot place Canelo where he was 7 years ago. I just can't. It's impossible. No matter which way you try to do it, it's impossible. When I came back to boxing, when I came back to watch boxing, that shocked me. I was like, this kid has improved a whole hell of a lot, and then I became the quote unquote Canelo fanboy. Whatever. You know what I mean?
And look, I Buy Houses has made a good point. I was talking to Chicano offline about this. It's usually the heavyweights that want the bigger ring because they're big dudes. You know what I mean? Like a Fury obviously needs more space than like a 115 pounder. It's just a fact of life, right? But like, why does Billy Joe want such a big ring, Chief? Like, ask yourself this question. You're asking the wrong question. You're asking why does Canelo want a small ring? Why does Billy Joe want a big ring, G-Funky?
I know the answer.
Well, why does he want a big ring?
You refuse to answer the other question, though. That's the problem. You and all the rest of these guys in the chat.
The reason why, I'll tell you why. It's called negotiation. Right? It's called negotiation. Okay? The negotiation is he wanted a 24 by 24, so they said 18 by 18, so they can then agree to a 20 by 20 or 22 by 22. It's common sense. Go ahead, Chicano.
What's the question that we're not answering, G-Funky?
I keep getting, why does he want a big ring? Well, why does Canelo want a small ring then?
Well, okay, it's all about putting things into perspective, bro. And, Raw Boxing took us to the early 2000s. Let me take us back to 1992 when G-Funky's hero, Julio Cesar Chavez, fought Angel Hernandez in Mexico in a bull ring, a title fight. Angel Hernandez was 37-0. He had the longest undefeated streak of any non-champion at the time. He showed up to fight in an 18-foot ring. What do you think about that? But not only that, G-Funky, it turned into a 16-foot ring. It turned into a 16-foot ring, and they contested it and still couldn't get anything done. But Angel Hernandez, who was a southpaw, who had good lateral movement, still went in there and tried to get it done, but he had nowhere to go. They marketed that fight as the Matador versus the Bull. The only thing that he could do in a 16-foot ring was kind of spin Chavez around, really, until he got knocked out. So, let's just be consistent, man. If this wasn't the social media age, maybe this would just go on. But instead, we're hearing all this scandalo and chinga. This stuff happens in boxing, man. It's called A-side privilege. It's nothing new, bro.
So you think I'm going to say something different because Chavez did it? Like that?
Okay, so does that make his win any less legitimate? I mean, like, so you don't count that win? Okay,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm going to discount Canelo's win. What I'm saying is this: it proves that I was right and you guys were wrong, and you know it. All right, you know it. I've been telling you guys that the movement was going to give him trouble ever since there was rumors of this fight last year, and I got a lot of shit back then. I'm getting a lot of shit 2-3 months ago. I'm getting a lot of shit right now. But
okay, so are you ready to say that Leonard?
All right.
So you're ready to say that Leonard was right to ask for a bigger ring against Hagler? You're ready to say that now?
That's fine. That's fine.
So have you made a prediction yet? Like we're still waiting on the prediction, G Funky. Like D-Style asked us, bro. Like, what's your prediction? Let's hear it, man.
Prediction's already dropped. It's been out for over a week on my channel.
Okay, we're on HCP. This is the podcast, bro. Drop it here so we can discuss it, please.
I've already said I think it's going to be a competitive fight, much more competitive than a lot of you guys think. And I think it's going to be one of those fights where rounds are close. People are going to be like, you know what? I feel like Billy Joe outboxed him this round. But then there's other guys are going to be like, nah, I feel like Canelo won because he was coming forward. He was the aggressor. It's going to be one of those fights, man. He's been in these fights before. We've seen it.
Let me rephrase the question.
So who do you think is going to win the fight?
Are you predicting that? How is G Funky going to feel about the fight afterwards? How do you believe you'll feel that Billy Joe won or that Canelo won? Let's forget about the judges. Let's forget about how people will see it. How will you see it?
I won't be able to answer that until the fight's over. But what I'm saying in my prediction video, and I'll say it right here, I feel like he's going to get the benefit of the doubt in those close rounds. He always does.
He's going to win by robbery.
Tells us that. No. See, now you're putting words in my mouth. I'm saying he's going to get the benefit of the doubt in those close rounds. Rounds that looks like it could go either way. He's going to get the benefit of the doubt.
So your prediction is not that he's going to win by robbery. I just want to go on record, right?
No, I didn't even say that in my video on my channel.
Okay. I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is this, though. Again, I told you guys that the movement gives him trouble. I kept hearing it doesn't, but then he wants to put him in an 18-foot ring. There's a reason for that. He doesn't want the guy to move because he doesn't like it. That's what I've been saying. You guys refuse to give me the credit because Canelo's actions speak louder than what he's saying in real life.
Okay, Chief Funky, let's go over this, okay? Most fights now, it's like first of all, someone bringing up the ring size is like a non-issue 99% of fights. Okay? Billy Joe's bringing this up because he wants a big-ass ring, bro. Okay? Because he feels that's going to play to his advantage, right? If allegedly Canelo did, I don't know if they did or they didn't, okay? But what I'm reading now, apparently it was always 20 by 20. But if they said, no, how about we do 18 by 18, that's called negotiation. That's called shut the fuck up about your bigger ring, or I'm going to request a smaller ring and I'm the A side. Okay, that's what that's called, all right? Everyone wants Canelo to be like the legends and all that. The legends fought in 18 by 18, brother. Like, I'm just going to let you know that right now. And now the standard, like the old ring in the Garden was 18 by 18. I think Judah Cotto were the last ones to fight in it. That was an 18 by 18 ring, okay? Now it's 20 by 20, and that's universally agreed upon, like the standard ring, okay? For people that are all for the standard ring and all that, Canelo's not asking for anything out of the question. He's not asking for some 16 by 16. The one that's asking for something that's, in my opinion, out of the question is a 24 by 24, which is what Billy Joe is asking for, brother. Billy Joe is the one that made a scene about this. He's the one that's acting a diva about this. Does he want to fight Canelo? Yes or no? Like, does he want to fucking fight? At the end of the day, you're going to have to get in the pocket and fight the dude. So do you want to fight or not? Right? And the words of Chicano, I know Canelo should watch for his pockets, but that's not here nor there, right? But I'm just saying, like the reason the big deal was made by Billy Joe. Billy Joe made a big deal about it.
Okay, so my boy Davi Erasmo there put his comment up because I usually agree with him, and he's right. He's got a right to have his own opinion. But that comment right there, that question right there, sounds to me like a narrative that's been pushed and has been adopted slowly by surely by some people in the YTBC. We keep hearing about this mysterious Euro fighters, this mysterious fighters that somehow are are bad fighters, right? So Canelo is good because he's fighting slow, bad fighters. But my question is this. Was Daniel Jacob a bad fighter? Was Smith a bad fighter? Was GGG a bad fighter? Did Canelo have some fights that we were like, dude, this shouldn't be? Of course. I never gave him credit for the Amir Khan. I thought that was a stupid fight. That was a cherry pick, if you want to call it that way. I never gave him credit for the Rocky Fielding. I thought that was also another cherry pick. But those fights were in the past. My question to whoever thinks in this manner is, can you truly, seriously look at me to my face and tell me that the Canelo we have today is the Canelo from 7 years ago? If your answer is yes, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I completely disagree with you.
Here's the excuse right here. Not you, Rob, but I'm talking about this picture right
here. I'm just saying, like, this is the ring that Billy Joe wanted, everybody. See that? That's the ring he wants to fight in and shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Let me add something on this because I don't want to come across as I'm gagging up on G-Funk at all. Look, it's called a negotiation. I put it this way. If I'm selling a car and I've marked it for $1,000, right? And you come around me talking about like, dude, I'll give you 800 for it. I'll be like, that's cool. I'll take 14 for it. That's it. It's negotiations. You're going to low cut me. I'm going to up the price and I'm going to force you right back to the middle where I wanted that car to be sold at. The ring was negotiated at the standard size. They come around talking about, I want this huge ring. Okay, well, I'm going to cut it down to the low and see how you like that. And the question is, Canelo wants a big ring because movement gives him trouble. Well, would it be fair for me to say Saunders wants a big ring because a shorter ring will give him trouble? And if the answer is yes, then we're both even here. Both fighters are simply asking for what would give them advantages. And I never alluded to say that, Canelo is just, I clearly said it in this live today. He doesn't have the Ali shuffle, meaning he does not have that foot movement, that leg movement, that footwork, that slickster footwork. But what he does have is the way to cut the ring. It's the way to feint and get you to stop. It's the way to keep you guessing. And again, people, it's boxing. Anything can happen. For all you know, Billy Saunders comes in here and makes Canelo look like a punching bag without a chain. Nothing. Just a stationary punching bag, right? But I can tell you this. Again, I'll say it. If Canelo was my fighter, I would be for months repeating in his ears, the head doesn't exist for the first 4 rounds. The head doesn't exist for the first 4 rounds. The head doesn't exist for the first 4 rounds. Mid-range and inside. Mid-range and inside. Work the bottom. Work the bottom. 1-2 to the chest. Work the bottom. The head doesn't exist. I'm telling you guys, I'm not sitting here creating a Canelo out of thin air. This is what we got today.
Yeah, a great point. And and to that point, right? Yeah, I'll put it up, Chief. I'll put it up. But to that point,
that's the ring Canelo wants right there. All right, okay. That's the ring Canelo wants.
Hey, but here's what I want to say. And to your point, Raw, like that's actually, if you watch the Otto Wallin Fury fight, Otto Wallin was utilizing the jab to the chest and the body, and it was giving Fury a lot of problems. Then he cut Fury, and then he started to a headhunt. And then that kind of cost him the fight, right?
And that's
so there you go. That's the ring, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, the slick fighter sets traps. The traps are designed to make you miss. When you miss, you're not in a position to counter. He is. That's what a slick fighter wants. Billy Joe Saunders is a slick fighter. And today in boxing, one of the things that makes the Mexican boxer so successful, it ain't even the heart. It's that one of the styles that has not abandoned the body work is the Mexican style of boxing. Today, the slick fighters are so successful because people have abandoned the obsession to destroy the ribs. You don't see it anymore. Think about the slick fighter from the past, the Sugar Ray Leonards, all of them, the Kid Gavilan, the original Kid Chocolate, the Willie They would give you the combinations upstairs, bring it down with with hook combinations to the rib cage, bring it right up and finish it with a beautiful right cross or a left cross, whichever they were. Today, you don't get that. You see fighters going after the head, after the head, after the head, after the head. That's why today we don't see a lot of body shot knockouts. We just don't, because it's not the main focus. And that's what a slick fighter wants. He wants you to focus on that tail. He wants to make you miss by inches so that he can. That's what he wants. But guess what? I can move here. Look how much traveling my head is doing. And then look at my torso. It's limited. Yeah. And you know why it's limited? Because he's a lot bigger.
Yeah. Well, look, here's what I'll say. Billy Joe is not, let me just say this. If he plays it too safe, he ain't going to win a decision in Texas. That's number one. Okay. So he's got to go for it, brother. He's going to have to get in the pocket a little more. And that doesn't mean, when I say he needs to engage, that doesn't mean get hit. That doesn't mean just trade with Canelo. Close your eyes and just trade punches with Canelo. No, that means actually engage with Canelo. Actually fight. Because in my opinion, if he stays out of range too long, it's going to come off. And in my opinion, it is avoiding engagement. It's not fighting. It's the opposite of fighting. Okay? So I just think he's going to have to. Well, you're shaking your head, Chief Funky, but if it's not if staying away from the fight isn't the opposite of fighting, what is it then?
I think the way you're explaining it is not the way it's going to go down, and that's not the way it went down.
What am I saying that's incorrect? What am I saying that isn't true?
You're making it seem like he's not trying to fight at all. Like these guys don't try to fight at all. When leather gets landed during the fight, the guys are hitting him, but somehow, some way, he's not engaging. Like I don't agree with that, man. I don't agree with that notion. I think that's a predetermined notion, and we're going to hear it again after this fight. I just have a feeling it's going to be one of those fights.
Do us a favor, G-Fuck, just say it. You think Billy Joe's going to win? Just go ahead and say it, G-Fuck. Go ahead, say it.
No. Too many. I already read off the scorecards and all the close fights he's had.
Look, I get it, G-Fuck. He's got the judges in his pocket. He cannot win a decision, right? But you feel he's going to win, right? If the fight was in England, who would win?
I feel he's going to get in trouble. If the fight was in England, it'd be closer probably. Be a closer fight. But I have a feeling we're going to get one judge that's going to have it like 10 rounds to 2. When the fight is going to be very, very close. I just have a feeling that's what's going to happen.
Just how you like it, G-Funky.
Yep.
Hey, G-Funky, I don't want to put you in a spot, brother, but you're not telling me who you think's going to win the fight.
I've already said it. Canelo.
Right.
Already said it.
Right. Okay. But you think he's going to win it with some funky business, though? Like, you don't really think he's going to win?
Like I said, it's going to be a fight where rounds are extremely close. It's going to be one of those things where guys are going to argue and say one guy is winning because he's boxing. He's hitting and not getting hit. Other guys are going to say he's being the aggressor. He's coming forward. He won the round. It's going to be one of those fights, man. That's what's going to happen. That's the way it's been in all of his close fights. It was like that with Trout. It was like that with Lara. Somehow, some way, he got a draw against Mayweather. I don't understand that. It's just it's happened a lot. You guys are ignoring the history here. Don't ignore the history.
But I'll say this right now: the right guy won against Trout. Right?
I disagree. The right guy won
against Trout, yeah, not against Lara.
Trout, you can say Trout. Yeah, I could give you that.
Oh man, I thought he beat Lara too, but that one was close to himself, right?
We can break that fight in slow mo if you want to. I got all the time in the world.
You're going to rewatch him to lead up to all this.
Well, Lotto beat him.
You guys could look it up. I've already broken down that fight. I have it up here on YouTube. But here's what I'll say. We got about to wrap this up, and I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Shout out to Xander Zayas. Shout out to Danny Roman, and everybody, man. Okay. What I will say is that Canelo's going to knock out Billy Joe Saunders in the late rounds. That's my prediction. Okay, and if it goes decision. The way I picture the fight in my head, I see Canelo winning the fight, right? I don't, whatever the judges do, the judges do. I'm just telling you how I'm envisioning the fight. I believe it's Canelo winning the fight, right? Chicano Prophet, are you satisfied with Canelo's? With Chief Funky's prediction?
Kind of. He's still slipping and sliding away from the real answer. But, it's what I expected from G-Funky. I think in the end he's going to root for Canelo because Canelo brings glory to Mexican boxing. He's the torchbearer for Mexico, and he continues to dominate. And so, he'll take all the credit. Sure, he'll take that, but he still gets to be up on his perch, talk. And here's the other thing I want to say about the aggressor. When I've been watching some old fights lately, and very often they'll talk about the 4 parameters for scoring. And they'll say at the end, but the judges do tend to favor the aggressor. I've heard it a few times now. And I've also heard, well, when economics in boxing aren't the greatest, they tend to favor the aggressor. It's just what it is. It just goes that way. And then when it happens, people who think that they have a superior opinion about it, they get really shocked and surprised. But I mean, a fighter can kick your ass going backwards, but it doesn't happen like that all the time. If it's close, generally they tend to favor the aggressor. It's historic. It has precedent, and it's good for boxing. We're there to see a fight.
Well, that's Chicano.
That's more of an opinion.
That's what. Okay. That's what you. We're not there to see a fight, G-Funky.
No, they tend to give it to the aggressor. I mean, you've talked about all these fights where they're giving it to the aggressor. So
let me just say this right now, man. Let me tell you something, okay? If I walk up to somebody at Walmart and I say, "What, punk? You want to fight me or what?" Right? And instead of fighting him, I'm staying away from him. The whole time, and then I slap him and then I get away, but I'm staying away from the dude. Are people really gonna walk away and be like, "Man, he beat the fuck out of that guy, bro. He beat the shit out of him"? Are they really gonna say that?
You know what? They're probably not gonna say that, but they'll probably say you won the fight. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
They're gonna say I didn't want to fight. Right? Is what they're gonna say. They're gonna say that he didn't want to fight. It's my opinion.
Come on.
My opinion. I know it's a fundamental disagreement, but I'm just saying, ain't nobody's girl's ass gonna get slapped and he's gonna fight him like that. Ain't nobody gonna do that.
You know what?
I'm just gonna say it right now.
As a competitor and the competitive nature I have, at the end of the day, whatever you got to do to get the win, man. If you got to stay on the outside and you get the win, you get the win. If you got to go in there on the inside and bang away with somebody when you don't want to, you get the win, you get the win. But at the end of the day, it's all about getting the win. I don't care how it gets done. Okay. I'm going to say the guy won.
Well, guess what? He ain't going to get the win if he does what you want him to do. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So if he's a competitor, he's going to have to go for it. I'm going to say that right now.
Unfortunately, you might be right, because we know how boxing is, man. There's a lot of rules that are made to be bent, not broken, for certain fighters, and that's what happens, And
if Canelo wins a clear decision or by KO, you're ready to give him his credit, right, G-Funky?
Why wouldn't I? I give him credit all the time. See, this is the problem, man. This is the problem with the Canelo.
They didn't give him credit for the Trout win.
One little thing, and then you're a hater. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
I've been giving him credit.
Are you telling me right now?
Hey,
G-Funky.
You have to.
Answer me this right now. He knocked down Trout, which means he only has to win 6 rounds to win that fight. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
6 rounds, because it's no longer a draw. It's a win for Canelo because of this point differential, right? You're telling me you didn't give him 6 rounds against Trout?
That was a close fight, man. That was a very close fight. I'm going to go back and watch that one again. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But that fight was not a 10-round-2 fight. That's for sure.
That was
and the open scoring was bullshit, too. It really took away from Trout's game plan. The guy knew he was losing every round when he wasn't, and he had to go for it, and that's not the way he fights,
I thought he won the Trout fight due to the knockdown, to be honest with you. I think that's what gave him. But I also, just like G-Funk, I disagree with the scorecard on that fight. But he won nevertheless. I mean, it ain't like Trout got robbed. In my card, Trout didn't get robbed in that fight.
Trout didn't complain. I thought he was going to complain after the fight. I remember he was just like, "Hey, judges gave it to him. That's what it is."
Hey, shout out to everybody, man. Look, you got to excuse G-Funk. He gets a little nervous when Canelo's going to fight. You know what I mean? Because it's been like Canelo proved him wrong so many times. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's his kryptonite. So I'm just saying. Okay.
G-Funky has a long, complicated relationship with him.
For those
these guys
asking
don't
about
like to hear the truth. That's all it is. All right.
G-Funk, you still my boy, man. You still my boy, man. You know that.
Hey, shout out again to Xander Zayas, Danny Roman, and that artwork, by the way, was a commissioned painting that Chicano did. So you guys could hit up Chicano Profit if you have any questions about it or something. You know what I mean? With that said, guys, let's just go around.
Let me just say something as my final thought. This weekend, instead of going in to watch the fight, okay, I'm in the TV now. My job is to see everything that Canelo does wrong and everything that Billy Joe Saunders does right. How about you sit down and enjoy the fight as a boxing fan? Now, I'm not talking to G-Funky. To G-Funky. I'm talking to you, the boxing fan. How about enjoy the boxing fight, right? Enjoy a sellout stadium or even a 40 or 20,000 people in attendance, which I think it's way, way more than that by now. Because this weekend's fight, it's going to be a Pandora's box. You're going to have a lot of drama in this fight. The styles suggest that this is going to be a dramatic fight. Now, drama can lead you in many directions. Which one? I don't know. I'm not a prophet. I'm not. But sit down and watch the fight. Sit down and enjoy the fight. And if Canelo completely knocks out Billy Joe Saunders, or if Canelo even pulls a clean decision, then the hate has to go. And if Billy Joe Saunders pulls a decision against Canelo,
gotta give him credit.
You gotta give him the credit he deserves. We're not here to sit in our feelings. We gotta give
credit. We're not gonna come on here. I
credit.
promise you, we're not gonna come here and say that Billy Joe had egg weights or. I'm gonna say that Billy had those. Remember those shoes with the basketball thing that you would pump? You know what I mean? Like, he had
Reebok pumps.
Yeah, he had the pumps on. Sorry, I just had to say it wrong.
But now, thanks for having me, guys, and I've enjoyed the show.
Definitely, everybody subscribe to Raw Boxing TV. The link to the channel is in the description under the video. Okay, all three guys, Chief Funky and Chicano. Chicano, brother, talk to us. Last thoughts.
Yeah, man. Well, I just have to say that this is going to be a damn good fight. It's Cinco de Mayo weekend, and this is a great matchup, and so I agree with Raw. It's just important to enjoy the fight, man. There's nothing wrong with being a fan. Sometimes I think if you spend too much time on YouTube, you get this idea that there's something wrong with fan enthusiasm. There's nothing wrong with fan enthusiasm. The sport needs it. We need excited fans, and we need good fights. And this is a good one, man. Everybody will be tuning in. Everybody watches Canelo. Even the haters watch Canelo. And, if you don't like Canelo, that's your right too, man. Enjoy the sport how you like, have your own opinions, but just make sure you enjoy the fights as they come up. I'll see y'all later.
Absolutely. Chief Funky. Everybody catch Uncensored tomorrow, and the roast will continue, okay? Because Chief Funky, I'm trying to walk him off the ledge. He doesn't listen. Like, help me out, guys. You know what I mean? But Chief Funky.
That's my boy, man. I'm not going against that. That's my boy.
Go ahead. Floor is yours, brother.
Ron knows my track record, man. I got an outstanding track record here, man. But tomorrow night, yes, it's going to go down. We're going to talk even more about this in the first hour. And then hour number 2, we're going to have a debate between Haplotype and Calex on who had the better career, Carl Froch or Joe Calzaghe. That should be interesting. But I want to say this before I end it, man. I see a lot of guys in the chat right now. And a lot of guys are going to continue to say this all week, how Billy Joe Saunders ain't shit. He's weak. He's garbage. He ain't nothing, right? Well, then guess what? I don't want to see any of you guys celebrating if Canelo beats the brakes off him, if Canelo knocks him out, because he wasn't shit anyway, right? There's no need to celebrate. He's nothing. He's trash, right? And you're actually taking away from Canelo's win. This has been going on for far too long with some of you guys, all right? DStyle and I had to annihilate some dude who came on my channel back last year when there was talks of this fight happening. We were saying, look, this is going to be a tough fight for Canelo because of the style. If he beats him, full credit to him. Oh, no, Billy Joe's garbage. Billy Joe sucks. So keep that in mind, okay? And all I'm saying is this. I've given Canelo credit for a lot of things. I love the fact that he's going for undisputed. He's taking on all the champions. I love the fact that he's fighting Billy Joe because he's got that style that gives him trouble. And I just want to see him do it. That's all I'm saying. Prove it to me, then I'll say he can do it. Until then, I'm going to say it still gives him trouble. That's all I got to say, man.
Really, really good till the end. You know what I mean? Like I was like, yes, he's coming back. And fuck. But I will say this, though. Billy Joe is a really good opponent. He's a world champion. A win, he's worthy. He belongs in the ring with a guy like Canelo for sure. I just don't think he's going to win. That's all. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people downplaying this fight for whatever reason. I agree with what Ross said. Sit down, enjoy the show, enjoy the fight. Okay, hit my like button. I want to thank everybody. The podcast was on hiatus for about 2 weeks, but we came back. We came back with a bang. Bigger, better things to come. Hispanics. Causin, Panic, are you down? with HCP. Next time I'll let the fighters know what that means. You know what I mean? So Xander was about to go through the screen and like punch me. You know what I mean? Like, why would I be here? Like, bah, you know, like, whoa. You know what I mean? But with that said, this is DStyleBoxing. Keep it boxing. We're out of here.